I am Daija Fanning, rusher and wide receiver for Lennard High School from Ruskin, Florida, class of 2022, and you're listening to Playmakers Corner.
Boom. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Playmakers Corner podcast. I am your host for this very special interview here with one of the flag football players that we did a breakdown on around this time last year. If you'd like to introduce yourself, where you're from, what position you play, and what high school you play for.
Hi, my name is Daija Fanning. I go to Lennard High School, and I play wide receiver and rusher in Ruskin, Florida.
Awesome, yeah, and we did get to watch Daija's film breakdown here and watch her film. And some of the things that we talked about, for those who may have missed that episode, we talked about how she's a great DN who gets off the ball super quick and takes really great, actually we even wrote perfect angles on defense and is just basically unblockable with a combination of size and speed, and used that kind of frame to get a lot of tackles for loss and a ton of sacks, and also, shows very solid footwork and is just an overall game wrecker on the defensive line. And then, on the offensive side of the ball, also contributing and, helping kind of move the chains from time to time. But anyways, Daija, jumping back to you, just so the audience can kind of get to know you a little bit here. We do this exact same question for anybody we have on the show. And I want to ask you, what is your favorite sports experience or memory while playing? This could be, in flag football. This could be in any sport where you just think of, playing in sports. And you're like, yeah, that right there, that's what it's all about.
My favorite moment was the NFL experience, because it was lots, like hundreds or thousands of people there watching a sport that's growing really fast around the country. So it was fun to get it out there. Even though we lost, it was still like a fun experience for us and to improve for this year also.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think I've ever played in front of that many people in any sport that I've ever played. So that's an awesome experience. And I can't even imagine how huge that was for you and just the whole squad, honestly.
Yeah.
On that note, are assuming you kind of had that experience with the NFL and whatnot, are you a fan of football or any other sport? And if so, what's a sport viewing experience of maybe a live game that you got to watch that was something special, or even a game on TV that is somewhat memorable?
I don't really watch football or any sports at all, but I've been watching the college flag football lately, so that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and as of this interview, by the way, for our listeners, this is being recorded on February 18th, and you did have that, there is one play from women's flag football that made SportsCenter #1. Did you see that one?
Yes, that was a great catch.
Yeah, that was a crazy catch, honestly, and it totally deserved to be #1. And so, obviously, like you said, being a part of that NFL experience and seeing the sport grow, that's another thing that's good to see for the sport growing and whatnot, is seeing a #1 play on SportsCenter from a growing sport for sure in flag football. And so, you've been playing flag football for a little bit, and like you said, it's a growing sport. It's really fun. But I guess kind of what is your favorite thing about football or flag football in general, like playing? Is it like, that experience and camaraderie with teammates? Is it a love for the game itself and strategy? What is kind of, your big takeaway and your reason for playing football?
Well, I just really love the sport. It's fun to play. I like to win. So yeah, and it's just fun competing and facing the adversity mentally, and just going on the field and showing what you learn throughout the practice. It's just fun. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And you're at the right program for liking to win, over these past few years. I mean, you had that 15-3 record. I believe that was last year. Yeah, that 15-3 record last year. And the year before that, it looks like a 4-1 record. And you must be pretty excited for this upcoming season, I'd assume.
Yes.
Looking to duplicate / maybe even exceed that success, because I know that you guys had a very solid run last year. But we'll get to that in a second. First, a little bit more about you, though. I guess, what are 2 to 3 qualities that you think separate you from other players, whether it's in your state or in the country? And you could say, 2 to 3 qualities as a rusher, or you could say 2 to 3 qualities as a receiver, or both even.
I would say for a rusher, first, like, most rushers are shorter than me. So I'm pretty tall. I said, well, in my opinion, for a rusher, so I have longer arms. And one thing is, even though it's a bad thing to do, but I do it anyways, even though I'm not supposed to, I always grab my flag with one hand, and it's always my left hand, which is really weird to me. Yeah. And I think it's just my height that separates me from other rushers and, like, people around the country, I would say. And then for receiver, in my opinion, I'm good at receiver, I would say, but I don't think I'm the best at that because, like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but I think I don't know.
I mean, it's okay to be better at one position than the other. I mean, you are an incredible.
I can be. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I can be quick on the receiver side, but I've been working on my hands lately, so I'm trying to fix that right now.
As a receiver coach myself, I love to hear that you're working on that.
Yeah.
So I know that was one of the things that we kind of talked about in your film breakdown, was using the body a little bit, but I feel like you can learn some things, and obviously you have a good wingspan for being a top-notch receiver as well. So maybe this season we'll see a little bit more impact on that side of the ball, because, I mean, you're working on it. So look out, Florida football. Daija Fanning, the receiver, is here to make some plays this season. But is the 5'6" on your huddle, is that up to date, or?
Yeah. Okay,
sweet deal. So that's what we're talking about with the height and the wingspan, obviously, as a rusher. And I like that, as a player, you're like, I know I shouldn't, but I do, I feel like part of that's your coaches talking a little bit, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, at least coaches know that you're listening. But I mean, as long as you're making plays at the end of the day, then you get a little bit more flexibility than most players, who maybe don't have the same capabilities or athleticism that you do, and so they can't pull off what you do in that way. So a little bit of flexibility, but the self-awareness is really good, and gets us here at PMC excited for what you could possibly do in this upcoming season. And so, kind of talking about seasons and this football program. First off, 15-3 last year. Very solid season, obviously. I don't mean to reopen old wounds or anything like that. You guys did eventually lose to Newsom, who I believe won the state championship that year. But overall, kind of, what was your takeaway from last season, and what were some things that you think you learned through the ups and downs on what was a pretty solid season, all things considered?
Well, one thing I feel like our team can focus on this year is the energy, because our energy, like when we were losing, it was always bad for some reason. So I feel like if we have good energy, even if we're losing or winning, we'll have a great game either way. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, and it just takes, getting excited about even the little plays, even if it's, a flagpole of like, a 2-yard gain. Get excited about that. Every little celebration, you see it sometimes in, defensive backs especially. Even if a quarterback sails a pass over a wide receiver, as a DB, you got to be celebrating that. Like, yeah, that was all me, even if you didn't do anything. So, taking a little bit of that swagger and stuff into each game could go a long way. And so I guess kind of looking forward to this season. I mean, obviously the goal is to win state. That's what it is for every team. But what do you think are some things that, the coaches and the staff have done to kind of prepare y'all to potentially make a run for state?
Well, we've been, I don't know about other teams, but our team, we've been practicing during the off season in June. And we've been going to tournaments, going against different teams, and just practicing, preparing for the season and winning states. I just feel like it all starts in June to prepare for states, not just now.
Yeah, no, for sure. Getting in that work for an entire off season. And I mean, you talked to us a little bit about that NFL experience, but are there any other awesome tournaments or games that, kind of come to mind over the course of this off season that were a lot of fun?
The recent tournament, it was at the Tampa Sportsplex, I believe. It was like a worldwide championship 7-on-7 for flag football and boys and girls. And I can't remember the team's name, but they were a team, I think it was like Staten Island. They're from New York, I think.
Yeah, I think they're the Giants, I want to say, like the Staten Island Giants. Or Simon's a little bit more familiar with that, but anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, I can't remember the team name right now, but we lost to that game too. But it was like a fun game because I like going against harder teams because it teaches me how to be better and what not to do next time. So it was a fun game to go against. And the energy was good that game and everybody was just excited and we're just trying to execute all the plays so that we can try to win. But that didn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you can go.
I was just saying it is exciting to get to face that national competition. I mean, that's not an opportunity that, a lot of teams have on the high school level in a lot of sports. So that sounds very exciting. And, even if you don't come out victorious, the important thing, and it sounds like you and, all your teammates and coaches are doing, is learning from it and growing from it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. Also, a little off topic here, but, Madison won a Sun Conference Player of the Week this last week. Did you happen to see that from women's flag football?
I didn't see the game, but I seen it on Twitter of her getting it.
Yeah, that's got to be exciting, and maybe got you maybe looking a little bit ahead here as far as college and recruiting. Kind of how has that journey been for you? And are you looking to play flag football on the next level, on that NAIA level?
Yes, it's hard because it's a lot of schools that you have to research and just get to know the team and everything. It's hard, but I do want to play from the college level, so yeah.
So I mean, you don't have to throw anyone under the bus here or anything like that, or praise any teams more than others. But it looks like you have 3 offers, I believe, right now.
No.
I
have about 7, I think.
7. Okay, so it's grown a little bit here. It's hard to keep up on the old Twitter and whatnot. So I mean, that's over half of the programs on the next level, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Would you mind kind of talking us through what the journey has been, maybe for up and coming flag football players, kind of some things that they have to look forward to, and maybe some of the ups and downs of recruiting and stuff like that?
Yeah, I can share. So for when you get the offers, it's very exciting until you have to go through all the application processes and getting all the stuff in. to get like all your financial aid and stuff like that. It's not that bad. But the only hard thing for me is when you're trying to pick a college that you want to go to because you're afraid of making like the wrong decision you might regret. Because some colleges are in state and some colleges are out. So in my case, I don't know if I'm comfortable going out of state because I'm not sure if an emergency happens, like will anybody be there in time just in case something happens. But in, like where I live, Florida, that's not the case. So it's not that bad.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And looking at out of state versus in state, that's nice that you kind of have a priority and thoughts of, kind of what you're looking for. Other than proximity, are there any other things that you're kind of looking for in a school, whether it's, like a winning culture or maybe a certain educational program that you're looking to get into?
Oh, well, for the culture, I would say I just want like a team that feels welcoming and like non-judgmental and always have good energy. And then I forgot what the other one that you said.
Oh, like any educational programs or something like that.
Oh yeah, I want to major in education, or if a school didn't offer education that I really want to go to, I would do exercise science.
Okay.
So
That's what Simon's school and my school was at UNC. We were in the sport and exercise science school, so obviously, we love to hear that and whatnot. But education, teaching, all that. Simon being a PE teacher, I know that he'd heavily endorse that as well. So it's good that you kind of have an idea of, like a first plan as well as almost a backup, if the fit seems right. Have you been able to do visits and stuff?
No, I haven't visited any colleges yet. I done like virtual, but not in person yet.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I know it's been a little weird with like COVID, obviously going on. Well, it's still going on now, but for most of your high school career and whatnot, so that's made it a little different and difficult. And nonetheless, that all sounds very exciting. And looking forward, I know you haven't selected a school yet, but what are maybe some goals that you have for, college flag football or just college in general?
Well, the goals for me, I want to start, that's for sure. So I'm trying to train more for that. So when I go to college, I'm not sitting on the sideline the whole game. And not just on the field, but outside of the field, I want to have good grades like I did in high school. Well, I'm still in high school, but when I was in high school, when I graduate, I still want to have good grades. And yeah, that's all I can think of right now.
Yeah, and I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, you want to play on the next level, so it only makes sense that you want to get on the field and improve as a football player, and obviously holding on to those same academic standards that have brought you this far, that's not a bad thing either. And I know a lot of these schools on the NAIA level are pretty prestigious academically and have somewhat high standards for, their test scores and stuff like that. So, paying attention to that and being attentive to grades in general is going to bring you a long way and obviously go beyond even the football field. So, I got to give you some kudos there on those. And, you just said, you're already looking ahead to graduation. You're almost there, like you said, as far as, the grades I had in high school. You're already speaking in the past tense, so I can sense that excitement that you have as far as graduating from high school. Is there any advice that you have to, whether it's middle school football players that are moving into high school or maybe some of those underclassmen in high school who are either aspiring flag football players or, just high schoolers in general?
Well, I would say just try it. It's not that bad as people make it think. Well, as people say it's hard and it's bad, but it's not. Like, I wanted to quit a lot, but I didn't. And I think I did pretty good since I stuck to it. And just go to practice every day if you want to get better. And you'll just enjoy it because it goes by really quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense with where you are at in your journey and stuff like that. And, we hear that a lot, especially from championship caliber, interviews that we have of players who have either won a championship or were in a championship. They say consistency is key. And that's exactly what you're talking about when you're speaking on, go to practice every day. Put your head down. Look, as a former football player, nobody gets excited for practice, but it's a thing that you have to do in order to be successful and build a championship team and get better as a player. So that way, when you get to game day, it is fun. So I like that you're like, hey, just stick through it, tough it out. Don't be a pushover with it. Just show up, get your work in, and you'll be better off for it. And obviously your guys' program is better off for it as well.
Yeah.
But, we're kind of nearing the end of this interview here. And so I want to ask you, or not ask you, but just let you have the floor here for a second and shout out anybody that you want to shout out who's been important to your academic or athletic career. And, this would be friends, family, coaches, other players, or anything like that. The floor is totally yours to just get all your thank yous going.
I want to thank my parents for just helping me and supporting me and loving me throughout the whole journey in my life. My coaches, Coach Holmes and Coach Roberts and Coach Blue, for helping me out, reteaching me how to catch a football and rush the proper way because I was not very good when I first started. And Coach Coffey from Riverview for taking us in during AAU in 2019 when Lennard didn't have an AAU team and helping me get better during the summertime. Who else?
I mean, you can take as much time as you need.
Savannah. She's a great player and she's my friend. And she's just been helping me along the journey with college recruiting and stuff. And her parents. So thank you for that. And all the college flag football coaches who offered me, I'm thankful for all the offers and taking the opportunity to sit here and watch me and believe in me as a good player. And that's it.
That's solid. There's always that one teammate, that kind of sticks out more than others. We've even had some interviews where we interviewed two people at the same time because they're just that close and they're literally like hanging out when we schedule the interviews. So that's awesome to hear. And, as a, advocate for women and girls flag football and just the growing sport that it is and the opportunities that it has provided, I too am, secondhand thankful for everything that those coaches, those programs, and all these players, including yourself, have done to, push this sport forward and, really make it a path that growing girls and women can look forward to playing, on that next level, especially too. Now with those opportunities continuing to grow too, there's some more teams that are going to keep popping up over the next few years. And you already have like Thomas University, who is they're 1-0 against the national runner-ups. So you have even new programs are finding ways to stay competitive, and I'm very excited to see everything that goes on with the Lennard season. Obviously, it's the only kind of Longhorn that I like, being a Sooner fan. So this is the only time I'll say go Longhorns is for y'all's flag football team. And looking forward to what you'll do on the next level as well. And that was Daija Fanning out of Lennard High School. Make sure to tune into their season. Follow them on Twitter at LonghornsFlagFB. And also follow Daija at Daija Fanning, straightforward. That's Daija Fanning, Fanning on Twitter. Show them some love on social media. And while you're at it, on Twitter, if you're not already, make sure to find Playmakers Corner and give us a follow on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, also on TikTok. We like to post clips and quick segments from our breakdowns. And, you may be listening to this on Spotify, but we are also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and we are also posting lots of women's flag football as well as some girls flag football content on our Twitch and or YouTube channels. So make sure to stay tuned for that for more women's flag football content, as well as, high school flag football and more interviews coming your way, courtesy of Playmakers Corner. Shout out to Coach V, who has been doing a lot of coverage for our flag football episodes. And, go ahead and tune in to our other set of interviews with Caitlin Sigmundi. I want to say is how you say her name. I may be butchering it, but tune into her interview as well as, Emma Balacco as well on, an episode that Simon did that released on Wednesday. So go ahead and check that out. But with all that being said, very thankful for our guest and very thankful for all of you listeners and fans. And make sure to stay tuned for Coach V's interview with Savannah Cox coming up next. Before I let this interview hit the road here, just keep in mind that this was recorded, I want to say last July here. So that was before this senior season of Lennard kicked off or anything like that. And all of the information and stuff and notes and critiques are from that season. So, looking forward to maybe potentially updating it or waiting and seeing how she balls out on the next level. All that being said, enjoy the interview.
I'm Savannah Cox. I play flag football. I'm from Florida, class of 2022, and you're listening to the Playmakers Corner.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Playmakers Corner podcast. I'm your host for today, Simon Villanos, and I have a very special guest. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, say who you are, obviously, where you're from, and what position you play.
Hey, I'm Savannah Cox. I'm from Florida, born and raised, and I really play all the positions, and that's me.
All right, and thank you for coming on to the show, Savannah. You are easily one of the best football players that we've ever got to watch and do a breakdown of, so this really is a pleasure, to be honest with you, but there you go. That being said, let's kind of talk about some of your favorite memories here. So this is something that we kind of ask all of our guests on the show just to break that ice and, have the audience get to know you a little bit better. But, what is your favorite sports experience or memory that you have that you actively participated in? And this doesn't have to be football. This could be literally any sport that you played and whatnot that is very, true and dear to yourself.
Okay, well, one of my best memories was when I started tackle football when I was 7 years old. I have 14 brothers, so it was kind of in the family, and they got me started, and that's really how I am good that's really how good I am today. And my dad, he was coaching us, and he was coaching us for 30. He's been coaching for 30 years now, and
dang, okay.
Yeah, my brothers really got me into it, and that's really my best memory, playing with my brothers for about 7 years. I stopped playing tackle when I was 14 because my dad said I couldn't play anymore. And that's when I got into flag my junior year, which was my first year playing flag. And now I'm looking forward to next year and what's to bring.
Gotcha. So I'm going to go ahead and ask this because I'm sure some people could assume this, but I'm going to ask it anyways. But did all of your siblings play football essentially then?
Yes, all of my siblings played football, all of them, and they all were great. They still are.
Gotcha. Okay. So do you just have 14 other siblings, or are there more here in this fam?
I have 2 sisters.
Gotcha.
Yep, sisters.
Sorry, say that again?
I have 2 older sisters.
Oh, okay. Did they play flag football as well? Or football?
No, they're nurses. They don't do sports.
All right, fair enough. All right, then. Well, with that being said, I gotta ask you, are you a sports fan of any kind? What are your favorite teams?
My favorite team is Green Bay. Me and my dad go at it all the time because his favorite team is, I believe, the Miami Dolphins.
Gotcha. Okay. If I may ask, why Green Bay?
Mainly because I forgot his name. Clay Matthews.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. I haven't heard that name. Well, okay, it hasn't been that long, but I haven't heard a fan of Clay Matthews in a while now. I used to be a big Clay Matthews fan as well, so that's what's up, for real. All right, then. So with that being said, you do have a favorite team and whatnot. Do you have a favorite sport viewing experience? So this is really just an experience where, you're a fan, you're not participating in it, and this could be on any level, really. But do you have one of those experiences?
Yes. I met a couple of Bucks fans when I was younger, and that was a great experience. They gave me, they talked to me about things, and I watched them play, and it was great. It was great.
Okay, cool. That's what's up. All right, then. Well, you did mention before that, your family was kind of the thing that got you into football. You're obviously in a football family. That's very apparent. But is there any memory or a series of events that you can really just point at and be like, yeah, that was the moment that I fell in love with football and I knew that I wanted to be in it for a minute?
Yeah, when I started in middle school, when I got to middle school, I started at the school named McConaughey High School. McConaughey Middle School. And this when I really took football serious is when my brother, Taquilo Johnson, it was my first time getting the ball thrown to me in forever. And I was like, this is my moment. So he threw it to me and I made a touchdown, and that was just the greatest thing because I got to celebrate it. I got to celebrate it with my brother. And then at the end of the game, when I took my helmet off and all of my hair was poofing out, they was like, that's a girl. And then a boy started crying. It was just it was the happiest moment ever.
Yeah, for sure. A core memory for sure. That's awesome. All right, then. So, speaking on your game, let's talk about it. So, I'm going to assume that you got to listen to our evaluation of your game. Now, I don't want you to hold back at all, give us the good and the bad. What was your reaction? What was your raw reaction to our evaluation of your game and all of that? Did you feel like it was accurate?
Yes, on some parts y'all were accurate, but on other parts, it wasn't that accurate. I love being corrected on things I'm doing wrong, and I like the criticism because that way it makes me better as a player, mentally and physically. On another part, when you guys said I look confused on the field, it's not that I'm confused. It's just that I have 2 coaches that's telling me 2 different things. I know they're trying to do their job, but sometimes hearing from 2 people at the same time, it puts you in spots where you have to figure out on your own at sometimes. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough, and we'll take that on the chin for sure. Okay, I might need to go back and listen because that definitely sounds out of pocket. I don't think I said that, but it might have been Kodey. But if I did say that, I might have to look back at that film once again. But I do understand that, though, because there were definitely times where I felt like, oh, man, this could have been a pick if she just jumped that, and all of that. And so we definitely talked about how we felt like you could have more turnovers. And you got plenty of turnovers. Let's not get that twisted at all. You was out there disrupting the offense, and you were a whole menace out there. All right. But, we want to help you get to that next level. And I think we felt like there were definitely a couple plays that we saw that were like, maybe just a step too slow, right? Maybe just a second of reaction a little bit too slow. And I get that, having two different people in your ear and whatnot. And, at the end of the day, it just comes down to making those plays and, sometimes just making those decisions for yourself and asking for forgiveness later. But that's not to say not to listen to your coaches, just so you know.
Yeah, I went back and looked at those films where I could have done better on some plays, and I looked at it, and I've been practicing on it, going hard, and I've been focusing more on defense and looking at those plays. So
yeah. No, fair enough, and that's absolutely fair. And, you can never do too much film work, being knowledgeable of what's coming up next. So that's really not the biggest worry, to be honest with you. There are definitely players that we've broken down that, oh my God, it's like a whole laundry list of things they got to do. So to just say that, you could probably have more turnovers, that's probably not the biggest criticism out there as well. You're still a baller, just so you know. And speaking on that a little bit more here, I want to ask you, so obviously you're a great player, right? And there are a lot of good things that you do right. I want to ask, is there anybody that you kind of look at, right? And you're like, I want to kind of take some parts of their game and add it to your game. So is there anybody out there that you really look at and want to model your game after? And this could be players, like teammates or professionals or whatever.
Yes. I really look at all of my brothers, really. Really. I would say
Fair enough.
My older brother, Gemini, Terrell, and Moncao, I really look up to them when it comes to football because they know what they're doing, they know what's to come, and like at one of my games, my brother was calling out every play. My dad as well. They was calling out every play, and I was listening. I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to you now. I got faith in you. So I did what they said, and sure enough, it was happening.
All right, okay. Fair enough. I got you. I can't even blame you there. My brother, he did a lot of the same things when I played as well. So I totally get that. But that's awesome, for sure. All right, then. So kind of speaking on your game a little bit more here, and I want to hear from you because, me and my boys here at the Playmakers Corner, we have a whole list of things that you do great. But I want to ask you, what are 2 to 3 qualities, in your opinion, that separate you from other players, not only in the state of Florida, but in the country?
Well, 3 things that separate me from the other players is, 1, I love equality on the team. 2, I don't like to just play for myself and just make touchdowns just because I want to make touchdowns. Yes, that's good, but at the same time, I feel for my other teammates as well. And the 3rd thing really is how much I care about the other team. Like, even though we're going against them, yes, I want to win. I still, at the end of the day, I go congratulate them as well. They played well, and yeah.
Fair enough, and I love that. Those are all things really that are, I would consider, a lot of them are on the field stuff, but off the field type of things that, coaches love to hear, right? You love to have that person that's just mature, just in general. And so those are all fantastic things, and I commend you on those. So yeah. But let's kind of talk about the future a little bit here, right? So obviously you do have one more year of high school, so I don't blame you if you don't have all of the answers here. That's totally okay. And obviously you'll be looking to build upon this last junior year, hopefully make a run at state, which in all honesty, I feel like y'all can make a solid run. It's just one of those things. You just gotta get out there and play and see what happens, get better day by day, and that's how that works. But I want to ask you, obviously you have committed to Midland. It's really ironic, actually, because we dropped this episode with you and all the other Lennard girls on there, right? And then I want to say I knew that Coach Jones was down in Florida that weekend because we talked that Friday before. And then I want to say on that Monday after the episode drop or something like that, you committed to Midland. And so first off, congratulations on that. That's awesome. They're building a fantastic quarterback. They have our gal Haley Stanton over there, and she's a fantastic player as well and person. We love her over here at the Playmakers Corner. But, I wanted to ask you, what were some things that you were looking for when you were, on that search to commit to a program? What were some of the things that Midland had that you absolutely loved, that sold you on them?
I was looking for people that I can be family with and that will be real with me on every level, no matter how harsh anything is. I was looking for a team that would stick together on the field and off the field, mostly.
Fair enough. So a family culture, like a true family culture, in your opinion, right?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. And I could definitely see that there. That's what they're building over there with the type of players they've been recruiting, because I believe they did offer your teammate Daija. Is that right? I want to say.
I can't speak on Daija. I really don't know. But hopefully she did.
Okay. Fair enough. But all right then. Once again, congrats on that. But let's kind of talk about the story leading up to you committing, because really it's not every day because first off, flag football just became kind of a collegiate sport like 2 years ago, and so you don't really see many players committing before their senior year, but you did. And that's a good thing in a lot of ways as well. But let's talk about your recruitment story here for a sec. So obviously Midland offered you and you accepted, right? But were there other schools in the mix? What was your recruitment story like? And, kind of walk us through when that hype began to build and when, I guess, you started getting interest to play flag football on that next level.
Well, at first, I would say, honestly, I didn't have any interest in playing at the next level until I knew that I could play at the next level. And I was like, oh, wow, I can get a scholarship in this and go to the next level. And I was like, okay. So I started to work harder. Like, sometimes, I'm not going to lie, I used to goof around in practice because I was like, oh, I already know how to do this. So, I used to goof around, but then, once I started seeing other people, I really started to pay attention and practice and go hard. So there was just one game when we went against East Bay. There was a coach there. He was recruiting. I didn't know. No one told me. It's really nothing led up to. I never knew that I was gonna get recruited, but there was another school, Thomas. She gave my parents the card, so I was really looking at that school, and I didn't even know about Midland until that weekend, and I was like, oh wow. And then I met the coach, and he came out. He said he was going to take a look at me, and I just did my thing, and I was just like, okay, I'm committing to this school.
Fair enough. You love to hear that, and that's awesome. I believe the coach over at Thomas, is that Chelsea Palmer? I might be getting that whole name wrong.
Yes, that's her.
Gotcha. Yeah, she's a good one as well. But that's really interesting then. So really all of this went down this last season, or really this last year and the last couple months. Would you say that's correct?
Yes, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's awesome. So, obviously, like I said, you do have one more year of high school, and I'm sure you have your goals there and whatnot, winning state, district, all that great stuff, right? And then obviously enjoying your last year with your gals over there and excuse me, over there at Lennard and whatnot. But I want to ask you, what are some goals that you have for college ball? And this could be academically, athletically, whatever. What are some goals that you've thought of? Sorry about that. What are some goals you've thought of leading into your senior year and then going into college here soon?
Some goals that I thought of was I really want to focus on not only playing flag football, but on academics as well, because at some point I'm not going to be playing flag and I'm going to have a career. And that's really my main goal. Some other goals that I have for college is to make good friends and lifelong friends and things like that, and just to have a great time.
Fair enough. And those are all valid goals for sure. But, yeah, there you go. So we're kind of wrapping this up here, but I want to ask you, just straight up before I forget, because really we've interviewed a couple of really good football players, some young women who have done their thing just like you and whatnot. And I want to say, we talked to Devin Silvestri, the quarterback over at Newsom. She obviously won state. We talked to Haley Stanton. We talked to Leah Cruz. She was that one girl flag football player that went viral on ESPN and whatnot. But I want to say out of all of them, you obviously have the most just football experience, both in flag and tackle, which is invaluable, to be completely honest with you, because there are a lot of things that you just do out there on the field that you're like, oh, that's an experienced football player. And you could tell between the footwork, between the spatial awareness, between, the way she catches the ball and looks it in and getting leverage and whatnot. Like you do a lot of things that are very seasoned, right? A lot of things that you would expect a veteran football player to do. And so with that being said, do you have any advice for upcoming middle schoolers, high schoolers, or even aspiring football players out there that may look up to you or already look up to you at this point?
Yes, I do. What I would say is to not settle for nothing. Nothing at all. Like, even if you're doing something wrong, you need to fix it yourself. You need to be a follower before you be a leader. Because if you become a leader, then you won't be a good leader, and then the team is just all sorts of type of messed up. Some other advice I might give is to yes, work hard on the off season and during the season, but sometimes it's very overwhelming, and sometimes you need a break. You might not think you need a break, but you're gonna need that break because it gets overwhelming and emotional, and it's just hard at times. So yeah.
Fair enough. And I love that you mentioned the whole break thing there. That's actually something that I don't think many other players that we've interviewed have said. Me and Kodey have definitely said that to plenty of players, though, because you got a lot of players who, and it's a good thing. They're all about football and whatnot, but you got to make sure that you have that break in there. I know, I want to say a couple months ago, we were visiting this young quarterback, and, he's a stud and whatnot, and he wanted to do football year round, and that's cool, but you got to put some time in there, play a couple different sports, give yourself a mental break and all that stuff, take care of your mental health. And so that's amazing advice for you to give over there.
Yeah, because trying to manage flag football, basketball, and track, it's very hard. Trying to manage all three sports at one time. And when a lot of people is depending on you for every single sport, so you're going to need a break every once in a while.
Yeah, no, and those are words of wisdom right there, and that's a testament to the maturity of you, really. So that's a fantastic thing to know. But we are kind of wrapping up this interview here, so I want to make sure I give you this platform to give a shout out to whoever that has been important to your academic and athletic career that you just like to thank on the show. This could be friends, family, coaches, teammates, and honestly, take as long as you want. We are in no rush here. So yeah.
I have a whole lot of people I want to give a shout out to. I would like to thank all of my brothers, Gemini Williams, Cornell Bynum, Macau Clemens, Terrell Cox, Alexander Cox, Taquilo Johnson, Ezekiel Cox, Josiah Cox, Xavier Cox, Malik Clemens. Who else? I would like to give a shout out to my dad. I'd like to give a shout out to my dad. His name is William Cox, and I have another brother that's named William Cox. My mom, Christ, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to give a shout out to Coach Wilcox, Coach Mitchell, and Coach Combs. Yes, even though sometimes we have our differences. Roberts, Coach Blue. I would like to give a shout out to Coach Prather, Coach Luke, Coach Yanni. Who else? And I think that's no wait. I'd like to give a shout out to Christopher Wolf, Artist Carter, Jelani Williams. Like those are. I think that's basically it. Oh wait, no, one more. Kasha Scruggs, my sister Jada, and Queet. They have all been a great influence, and they all have taught me something important.
Okay, gotcha. Well, first off, love that you have a fantastic support system there, I believe, and what we believe here on the podcast, that every great football player, every great athlete needs one of those, and you can never have too many people who could support you, and people that you can look up to and give you advice as well, and so that's always a good thing to hear and see. So there you go. But Savannah, thank you so much for coming onto this episode and giving us all your wisdom and whatnot. I'm sure there are plenty of players out there that'll appreciate that as well. But once again, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
No problem. It was my pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, no problem. And we'll be following you and all those other Lennard flag football players going into your senior year and whatnot. And if you haven't heard of Savannah Cox or have seen her highlight reel, go ahead and take a peep at it, because, geez, she's a heck of a player. As good as Leah Cruz, if not better, to be honest with you, to be completely honest with you. So there you go.
Thank you.
Of course. So thank you for listening to the Playmakers Corner. Thank you for rocking with us. Go ahead and show us some love on all of our social medias. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well pretty soon here. Thank you once again, and we'll see you next time.